Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working with the rotary polisher exclusively. Just recently I put out a video reviewing the brand new Barjack rotary polisher and just spent a few seconds going after technique. And it was requested on that video to do a follow-up just working on technique with the rotary, and I'm happy to oblige. So today's video we're going to concentrate on rotary polisher technique. Let's get into it. The rotary polisher is a quick and easy way to both cut and finish, and really everything in between depending on what type of pad you team up with it, and correction fluid as well. For cutting, I like the lamb's wool pads, the non-linting pre-washed lamb's wool pads. They are excellent. Many different types of manufacturers make them. And then when it comes to finishing and anything below that, a waffle pad teams up perfectly with a rotary polisher to finish down. So we have a hood here, and I'll show you what's on the hood. It's in horrible shape. We can correct this hood, do some cutting with the wool pad. I can give you some pointers on what to do when you come up against peaks, body lines, edges, curves, and stay out of trouble so you don't polish through these areas. And I'll give you some quick tips and tricks. And then we'll swap away from the cutting pad, go to the finish pad, and I can give you some pointers as well. So let's get this going. This is probably a great hood for this. I always wanted a flat hood for my test hoods, but when it comes to paint correction and giving some tips, this swale here is a great area that I can give you some pointers. These peaks, body lines, and valleys are also some good areas. And I mean, this hood is used for all different types of testing, so we'll be able to show some correction on this difficult hood. Let's just start out one section at a time, and we'll start out with this valley or swale here. It's almost like a snowboard rink here. And yeah, you can get yourself into trouble, especially on these peaks, if you're polishing with the rotary and you don't have a lot of confidence or time behind the tool. A quick tip, if you're working on these areas and you're not quite comfortable and you do not want to burn through these edges here, and even here, I understand, because there is less material here. The paint flows away from those peaks as it's being laid down from the manufacturer, or even if it's a backyard body shop that's painting it. It just naturally flows away from these areas, and it's thinner here than it is here or here. So what you could do is get some either pinstripe tape, which is really thin, or some masking tape like this, and give yourself some protection. So if we want to correct this valley here, I want to protect this peak. So I'll lay some tape down on it, just in case any of the fibers from the polisher, or if you're using a foam pad, go up and right on that ledge, it won't burn through. And you can do the same thing on this side. And then when you're through and you want to start correcting, not from here, but here and here, you can just move this same tape and not waste it. So let me show you what to do here. Let's grab a cutting compound, the 3D ACA 500. Designed for wool, is perfect to team up with that polisher when it comes to cutting. So let's use it. With a wool pad, I don't want to put it on the surface dry, so I'm going to prime that wool pad. Get some product on the pad, work it in with your fingers, get all those fibers primed up with the compound. And then you can add some more. And then you won't be dry rubbing this surface. Now, it just so happens that this pad fits perfectly in the valley of this area on the hood here. So we could start by correcting the center of it just by going back and forth, keeping the rotary polisher flat. You always want to keep the rotary polisher flat as often as possible. Often I'm asked about what to do when the polisher starts to skip, and the rotary polisher will do that more often than any orbital or dual action polisher. And if it starts to skip or go out of control, simply go up on a 15-degree angle, one way or another, 10, 15 degrees. It will straighten itself out, it'll smooth itself out. Then you can lay the polisher right back down and go to flat polishing once again. That's how you get, keeping the polisher flat gives you the most even level cut, rather than plowing it one way or another with a tilted polisher, which is a bad habit a lot of detailers have. So let's correct the center of this valley first. All right, now we got the center here cleaned up a bit. Let's start to work towards the curvature or the edges here of this little area. Now the rotary polisher, especially with a wool pad, will correct a lot cooler than a foam pad. The temperature won't spike quite as much in this area. That's because you have a lot of air whisking between the fibers here, and it keeps it cool, just naturally. But you still need to move the polisher at a clip of about an inch every second or so. So that way you're not just hovering over one spot and really increasing your chances of burning through the clear. So as we get to the valleys here, we're going to come over now, and we're going to let the natural curve of this pad, as you can see right here, come up into the valley, but not ride on the peak, just like this. Now I do have to slightly tilt this polisher as I come this way because we have another peak over here. And even though we have it protected, I don't want to ride on that, wear away the tape, and get into the paint. So I do have to tilt it a little bit. Nice and smooth, the polisher's always in control, I'm never flailing it around, and we never rode the peak and never had any chance whatsoever of burning through on this side. Now we need to do the same thing over here, and now I'm going to have to tilt the polisher this way so I can avoid this peak. So there are times where you need to tilt the polisher, but for the most part you want to keep it perfectly flat. So at this point we have the area cut, and now we need to finish or refine. So I'm going to swap pads from the wool pad to a waffle style foam pad, and we'll be able to finish this valley here, clean it up, refine it. Centering your pad, especially on a rotary polisher, is more important than any other polisher because any slight offset, you're going to have a wiggle to your polisher. Center it perfectly, it'll be nice and smooth for you. Pretty much the same rules will apply with this foam pad. That existed when we used the wool pad. So we're going to be doing the center first, center of the valley, keeping the rotary flat. And because we have a waffle pad, not 100% of the pad is making contact with the surface, we can slow down our arm movements slightly to give the pad and the polisher a little bit more time to do its job. Hope that makes sense. Also, when I'm finishing, I have the speed a little bit lower than when I'm cutting. All right, center of the valley is nice and clean now. Now let's work our way out to the edges. Now this side. Look how much better that looks. Didn't take long at all. Cut and finish with the rotary. Don't worry, I'll bring you up close to show you we didn't leave any buffer trails. But not in any time was that peak of that ridge in jeopardy of being burnt through. And now we're going to go from here, expand our way out, and I'll show you how to correct the top of this ledge without burning through that peak. So we're working both sides without tipping it over and riding the ridge. Nice and clean. That 7-count metallic flake in this paint job shining through, and just done with a rotary polisher. Switch back over to the wool pad, and by the way, it's clean. I clean my pads between every pass, or really anytime I load up the pad. Before I load up the pad with new product, I will clean up the pad first. Let's work this little section here. Now you could do one of two things. Keep using this pad or switch over to a smaller polisher. There are rotary extensions with 2-inch pads. That would be perfect there. I'm not going to take the time to do that. I'm going to use the rotary with this big 6 or 7-inch wool pad, and we're going to clean up this ridge without burning through this ledge or that ledge, and I'm not going to use tape. So what we're going to do, we're not going to come in with the polisher this way, rotating, and the fibers giving these edges and peaks a hard time. We're going to come in from the side, and the fibers will be spinning this way, and it won't put a whole lot of stress on the clear coat. Let me show you. Again, we need to prime the pad one more time because now it's dry again. We just cleaned it. The only thing with a wool pad, you're going to go through a little bit more product, but it's worth it. Okay. So before I start polishing, I'm going to spread out the polish over here. I am going to be coming over here anyway. Now I can come back over here. Now, I'm not going to be coming down this little section with the polisher tilted this way or even flat. I'm going to come in, slightly tilt it, and work like this. Other side. What I like to do, when I'm doing a crisscross pattern, is I'll come up and I'll stop just shy of the edge of the pad tipping over the ledge. And I'll go back and I'll keep doing that, and then I'll come back up and I'll ride that ledge all the way down through, just like that. See that? We have that area corrected. We have this area corrected. And at no time at all was this peak in danger of being burnt through. Now we need to come over and take a look at this. Here we have a gently curved side of the hood here. This comes down from about a 90 degree to another 90 degree. And we're going to have to treat that just a little bit differently. So we're going from a nice gradual curve to a sharp bend. I always like to break out a small polisher so I can really get tight into the corner of that bend. But we're going to do it using this same pad. Time to load up. Now for the lower part, this part here, this is the upper deck, lower deck. For the lower deck, I'm going to come in, and as I get close, I'm just going to slightly tilt the polisher on about a 5 to 10 degree angle, and that will point the fibers of the pad into the corner so we get full correction all the way up tight into this corner. If not, we're going to come up, and this top peak here is going to bend these fibers up, and it won't get all the way in the corner. So let me show you what I do here. Upper deck, we're going to do the exact same thing we did over here. Let's add a little bit more product. Up to the ledge, stop. Up to the ledge, take a peek, come back. Up to the ledge, turn around, come back. And then we'll just walk along that ledge. I want to go over this area one more time here because this had a lot of scratches, real deep scratches. And then what we'll do is I will do some speeding up of the camera here. I'll switch over to the polishing or finishing pad and we'll clean up this section we were working on here. And you get to see the work a Rotary can do on this trash panel by cutting and finishing. And at no time were we in danger of burning through this finish. Before I do the cutting, let me show you what these buffer trails look like. See that? Got the damage out. This side of the hood, it's going to turn out great compared to the way it was. I mean, it's never going to be perfect. That's why it's not on the car anymore. But we need to clean that up. If you ever see that on vehicles that pull up next to you in the sunlight, it's exactly what it was. Somebody knew how to cut, but never knew how to swap pads and finish down with the Rotary. And really in no time at all with the Rotary polisher, it's very, very effective, very quick. with the work that it can do. You'll be around the car in no time at all. Car, truck, boat, RV, the rotary polisher will help you finish those up very quickly, and you'll be very effective. Look at that. As bad as that hood, the side of that hood was, we went from this, well, worse, to this. Nice, clean, except for that deep stuff that's through the clear. So there you have it, good friends. At no time at all was the polisher out of control. It was always operated smoothly and deliberately with deliberate arm movements. And the difference between cutting and finishing, a little bit of speed, the material used on the pad, and the correction fluid. This is really the only video on rotary polishing you need. It takes care of speed, pressure, arm movement, pads, working on different shapes, keeping the polisher flat, flat surfaces up to a peak or a body line, curved surfaces, edged with sharp edges, and how to approach them. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to do a follow-up. And hey, happy polishing using the rotary polisher. If you don't have one, this bar jack should be available again. It's sold out quickly. It is so smooth, so easy to use. It's light, it's nimble. I recommend it. If not, if you already have one, stick with it. If you have a brand that you like, stick with that. I don't care which one. Just pick one up, pick up a junk panel like this and practice if you're a novice, or if you're intermediate, jump on a car and have fun, because this thing is a lot of fun and very satisfying to use. Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. Catch you in the next video.